Dale Robertson really hated him more than Nanyon. Dale Robertson was born Dale Lemoyne Robertson on July 14, 1923 in Harrah, Oklahoma. He grew up in the rough land of the American heartland, which helped shape both his down-to-earth personality and the natural toughness that later made him perfect for cowboy roles. Growing up during the Great Depression, Robertson learned the value of hard work early on. He had a simple upbringing where riding horses and learning to be independent were part of everyday life. These qualities would eventually show up perfectly in the screen, giving him aerialness that audiences loved. Before his career in Hollywood, Robertson served his country with honor during World War II. He joined the U.S. Army and became part of the 322nd Combat Engineer Battalion, eventually earning a rank as a second lieutenant. Later, he moved into the 332nd Combat Engineer Battalion and also served with the 101st Cavalry. Robertson was hurt twice in combat, earning a Bronze Star and other military awards. His time in the service not only showed his bravery, but also added a sense of calmness and quiet strength to his screen presence. Many who knew him personally often said that Robertson was a real hero long before he ever became a television star. After coming home from the war, Robertson did not right away set out to become an actor. Instead, his entry into Hollywood came kind of by accident. While recovering from his injuries, he had a photograph himself taken for his mother. That photograph ended up catching the eye of talent agents who saw in him the rugged good looks and natural charm that casting directors were constantly looking for. This unexpected turn of events led to his first small roles in films during the late 1940s and early 1950s. Robertson's career took off for real when he became known for the Western genre, a style of film and television that was super popular at the time. His most famous role came with television series Tales of Wells Fargo, which ran from 1957 to 1996. In it, he played Special Agent Jim Hardy, a character that showed courage, fairness, and strength. Robertson's natural horse riding skills combined with his calm presence gave show a sense of realness and helped make it different from other westerns of time. Millions of viewers tuned in each week, and Robertson quickly became a loved figure in American households. Beyond Tales of Wells Fargo, Robertson continued to build a solid career in film and television. He appeared in movies such as Dakota Incident 1956, Return of the Texan 1952, and Sitting Bull 1954, working alongside some of Hollywood's top stars. He also starred in other TV series, including Iron Horse 1966 to 1968, and had important guest appearances on programs like Dynasty and Dallas in the 1980s, proving his ability to change and stay popular as an actor. Though best remembered for westerns, he did not limit himself to one type of role, showing that he could adjust to different types and eras in entertainment. In 1964, Robertson joined the main cast of Law of the Lawless, a television series that kept him firmly rooted in the Western tradition. The mid-1960s also saw him continue his work in film with roles in The Man from Buttonwillow, 1965, an animated feature in which he provided the voice of a cowboyero, and The One-Eyed Soldiers 1966, a crime drama filmed in Europe. These projects showed both his ability to do different things and his willingness to explore new paths for his career. In 1968, Robertson took on a new challenge as the host of the long-running show series Death Valley Days. His role as host gave him a platform to introduce and tell dramatic stories from America's frontier history, and his natural storytelling ability made him a perfect fit for the program. During the 1970s, Robertson tried new things once again by playing real-life FBI agent Melvin Purvis in two television movies, Melvin Purvis, G-Man, 1974, and The Kansas City Massacre, 1975. These films showed Purvis's battles against famous gangsters such as John Dillinger and Pretty Boy Floyd, and Robertson's performances were praised for their intensity and realness. In 1981, Robertson entered the world of primetime soap operas when he was cast as Walter Lancashire in the first season of Dynasty. The show went on to become a television hit, and while Robertson's role lasted only one season, it introduced him to a new generation of viewers. 2 years later, in 1983, he appeared in a television pilot called Big John, continuing his steady work in TV. In 1987, he starred in the NBC crime drama StarBuzz, playing the titular role of a wealthy Texan who traded his business empire for a life of solving crimes. Robertson's portrayal of StarBuzz with his folksy wisdom and larger-than-life personality was both entertaining and lovable. And though the show had a short run, it left a lasting impression on his fans. In the final years of his career, Robertson remained active. In late 1993 and early 1994, he made guest appearances in 12 episodes of Hearts of the West, a comedy drama series starring Beau Bridges and Lloyd Bridges. These appearances were a fitting ending to a career that had lasted nearly 5 decades, bringing Robertson full circle back to the Western genre that had defined so much of his professional life. Robertson's personal life was as full of events and interesting as his career in Hollywood. Marked by 4 marriages that covered different chapters of his life, his first marriage was to Frederica Jacqueline Wilson in 1951. At the time, Robertson was a rising star in the world of westerns, and their marriage got attention. Although their marriage ended in divorce in 1956, it was important in Robertson's life because the couple welcomed a daughter together, making him a father for the first time. Despite the end of their marriage, this relationship left them with a lifelong connection through his child, and he remained committed to his role as a parent even as his career needed long hours and lots of travel. Not long after his first marriage ended, Robertson married actress Mary Murphy in 1956. Murphy was best known for her performance opposite Marlon Brando in Wild One, 1953, and the marriage between the figures in the entertainment industry drew public interest. However, their union was very brief, ending in an annulment that same year. The short time of their marriage suggested the pair may have gotten into their relationship too quickly, perhaps overwhelmed by the whirlwind of Hollywood life. The annulment meant that the marriage was legally considered void, almost as if it had never happened. But it still remains a notably footnote in Robertson's personal history, highlighting the challenges actors often faced in balancing personal stability with the demands of fame. In 1959, Robertson found love again when he married Lula Mae Robertson. This marriage proved to be far more lasting, going on nearly 2 decades until 1977. With Lula Mae, he expanded his family, having 2 daughters. Robertson was known to be very devoted to his children, often saying in interviews that family was just as important to him as his career. His marriage to Lula Mae happened during some of the busiest years of his career when he was starring in television series like Tales of Wells Fargo and Iron Horse. Despite the pressure of keeping up a public image as a rugged leading man, he valued his role as a father and husband during this time. However, after 18 years together, the marriage ended in divorce, closing another long chapter of his personal life. In 1980, Robertson married for the 4th and final time, taking Susan Robbins as his wife. This marriage proved to be the most lasting of all, going on for 33 years until Robertson's death in 2013. Susan, who was quite a bit younger than Robertson, became not only his life partner, but also a source of stability and companionship in his later years. The couple settled in Yukon, Oklahoma, where Robertson enjoyed a quieter life away from the constant spotlight of Hollywood. Their marriage was marked by a deep mutual respect and devotion, and Susan was by his side until the very end of his life. Robertson was never the type of man to sugarcoat his opinions, whether it was about his own work in Hollywood, the people he admired, or the people he couldn't stand. Among all the actors he crossed paths with during his long career in film and television, there was one man who, according to Robertson, represented nearly everything he hated about the entertainment industry. That man was Robert Taylor, the handsome leading man of the 1930s through the 1950s, often called one of MGM's most profitable stars. Robertson did not hold back when speaking about him, and in private conversations as well as honest interviews, he made it very clear, "I really hated him more than any one." Robertson's dislike came from more than just personal differences. It was, in his eyes, a clash of beliefs. Born in Oklahoma and raised with a strong sense of independence, honesty, and hard work, Robertson believed an actor should be genuine both in life and on screen. He often said, "An actor doesn't have to pretend to be a good man. He either is or he isn't. The camera catches it and the audience knows the difference." To Robertson, Robert Taylor was the example of the opposite. He viewed him as fake, a man who looked the part of a star, but lacked the honesty and toughness Robertson felt was necessary to the westerns and dramas that made Hollywood succeed. He was always worried about his image, Robertson once said. Robert Taylor never cared about the story, the truth, or even the darn character. All he cared about was how he looked in the shot, hair just right, chin tilted just so, the spotlight catching his best side. Tome, that wasn't acting. That was Vanity Robertson, who had built his own reputation by playing tough, straight-shooting cowboys and lawmen, had what he saw as Taylor's obsession with polish and glamour. The hatred between two men wasn't only professional, however. Robertson told stories off social meetings with Taylor that made his distaste worse. He looked down on people. Robertson said, if you weren't part of his little circle of yes men or studio pets, he treated you like you were beneath him. I never stood forth it. Not from anyone. I was raised to shake a man's hand, look him in the eye, and treat him with respect, no matter what he was. Robert Taylor thought he was above all that. Another point of conflict was politics and loyalty. During the tense post-war years of Hollywood, Taylor famously testified before the House on American activism a comet, cooperating in naming names of colleagues suspected of communist sympathies. To Robertson, who valued loyalty above almost anything else, this was unforgivable. He turned his back on people he worked with, people who trusted him. I could never respect that. I'd rather be blacklisted myself than sell out a friend. Robert Taylor didn't think twice about it. That told me everything I needed to know about the kind of man he was. What especially bothered Robertson was the contrast between Taylor's image and his reality. The public saw a noble American hero, but Robertson insisted it was all a fake. Hollywood made him into something he wasn't, Robertson said bitterly. He was supposed to be the picture of decency, the strong, silent man women dreamed about and men wanted to be. But I knew the truth. Underneath it all, he was just a coward who hid behind his looks and his studio contracts. The anger lasted through Robertson's life. Even decades later, long after Taylor's death in 1969, Robertson would not soften his tone. When asked if time had mellowed his opinion, he would shake his head. Some people you learn to forgive as the years go by. You look back and think, well, maybe they weren't so bad after all. Not him. Robert Taylor was exactly had I thought he was the first day I met him, and I thought he was rotten. If anything, the years only proved me right. In the often political, carefully balanced world of Hollywood, such blunt statements were rare. But Robertson didn't care. He had never wanted to be part of the Hollywood establishment. I wasn't in this business to make friends in the studio cafeterias. He once said, I came to tell stories, play real men, and earn my keep. If that ruffled feathers, so be it. But if there's one feather I never minded ruffling, it was Robert Taylor's. For Dale Robertson, who prided himself on being real, self-reliant, and loyal, Robert Taylor represented a very false, shallow, and disloyal about the film industry. And while Robertson respected many of his colleagues and made lifelong friends among actors and directors, he never hesitated to single Taylor out as the on man he could not and would not respect. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Robertson concluded in one of his interviews, I really hated him more than anyone, and I never regretted feeling that way. Not for one darn second. As his health began to fail in the later years of his life, Dale Robertson made the difficult decision to leave behind the familiar surroundings had long loved and moved to the San Diego area. This move was not simply a change of scenery, but rather a necessity brought on by his steadily getting worse condition. A struggle that would mark the final chapter of his remarkable journey. San Diego, with its coastal air and closeness to advanced medical facilities, became his last home, offering him comfort and care during a time when his once strong body was weakened by illness. In those months, the actor who had once represented rugged independence and energy on screen was quietly facing his most personal and serious battle screen. Despite his lasting spirit and determination, he could not overcome the combined toll of lung cancer and pneumonia. Surrounded by the dedication of medical professionals and the love of his family, Robertson's life came to a close at Scripps Memorial Hospital in La Jolla, California on February 26, 2013. He was 89 years old. His passing marked not only the end of a long fight against illness, but also the conclusion of a legendary life story that had touched millions of fans. Even in his final days, his legacy as a Hollywood cowboy, a television star, and a man who carried himself with dignity remained undiminished, leaving a permanent mark in the hearts of those who admired him.